Today I'm going to be going for the Platinum Trophy on Stranger Things. I'm a very big fan of the Stranger Things show. This is one of my top 3 all-time favorite shows. This game is based around season 3 of the show, so beware of spoilers ahead. So step 1 of this Platinum was pretty much for me to just complete the story on any difficulty of my choosing, but I decided to go with the hardest difficulty to make this more interesting, and trust me, I regretted this later on. The story starts off with these Russians that are trying to open up a new portal that leads to the Upside Down. Shortly after that, it cuts to Mike and Lucas trying to find their way into the movie theater, but there's too long of a line for them to wait, so they wind up just going to their friend Steve so they can get in faster. Ooh, Steve, is that you?
Yeah, it's me. Don't cream your pants.
Yo, comment down below what your favorite Stranger Things character is. Mine personally is Steve, and I'm sure you guys understand why and agree with me on that one. After talking to Steve, he gives us a set of keys so we could take the back way to the movies and skip the line. Once we make it to the movie theater, there winds up being a power surge that shuts down all of Hawkins for a short period of time. After that, we go back to Mike's house to talk to Will, and we're given our first trophy for completing the quest Sneak Peek. Welcome to Hawkins, first trophy. Complete Sneak Peek. After that, we get a quest to go to Dustin's house and surprise him after he gets back from camp, and this will get us our next trophy. One time at space camp. Unlock Dustin. Shortly after unlocking Dustin, he wants to talk to his girlfriend over this new Cerebro device that he built. But instead of talking to his girlfriend, he winds up intercepting a secret Russian communication. From love to Russia. Complete Radar Love. And with completing that mission, that will conclude Chapter 1 and start Chapter 2, the Mallrats. And to start Chapter 2 off, Dustin goes to Steve to talk to him about the secret Russian communication that he intercepted. And it turns out that Steve's friend Robin is fluent in 4 different languages, so she's able to help them out too. After speaking with Steve and Robin, we move on to the next quest, Rat Paper Scissors, where we talk to Nancy at the Hawkins Post. This is where we get our next trophy. Cut it out. Unlock Nancy. Oh yeah. Shortly after this, Nancy decides to go and take on a news report for herself, but she needs the help of Jonathan, so she goes and speaks to him, and we're awarded a trophy for this as well. Normal is boring. Unlock Jonathan. As we follow this news report to this lady, Miss Driscoll's house, we investigate and find that these mutated rats are eating fertilizer. After trying to confront Miss Driscoll about this, she winds up being somewhat mutated as well, and this is our first boss fight. Oh, this is the Miss Driscoll fight, man. Hopefully it's not as hard as I'm thinking on this difficulty. Oh my god, she's getting dogged. No, so many damn rat things. Oh yeah. Master difficulty where, man? Too easy. And trust me, those words would come back to haunt me later on. After completing that boss fight, we move on to the next quest, Break In, Make Out. For this quest, Mike planned on hanging out with Eleven for the day, but Hopper got too overdramatic and changed those plans right away. Hopper gives Mike a ride home and tells him if he tells Elle why, then he'll never be able to see her again. So since Mike was lying to her, Lucas suggests that he buys her a gift to say I'm sorry. This apology gift doesn't work and she winds up breaking up with Mike.
I dump your ass.
And we get our next trophy for completing this quest. But boyfriends do. Complete Break In, Make Out. And with that quest being complete, that concludes Chapter 2 and starts Chapter 3, the case of the missing lifeguard. This chapter starts off with Jonathan going back to his mom to tell her that he lost his job, but she's so worked up on the magnets that aren't sticking to anything, so she wants to go back to Hawkins' lab and check everything out. So Joyce asks Hopper for help, but since she stood him up on their date, he thinks she's going a little bit crazy. But after a little bit of convincing, Hopper decides to help her out, and this is where we get our next trophy. Finding Chemistry. Unlock Hopper and Joyce. After exploring Hawkins' lab, they find 3 deeds that were signed by the mayor that are for farmhouses around Hawkins. They continue exploring Hawkins' lab, but before they could find anything else, one of the secret Russians knocks Hopper out. Shortly after this, we wake up at Hopper's cabin and start the new quest Slumber Party, and for this, we get another trophy. Up to 11. Unlock 11. Before continuing the Slumber Party quest, I decided to do the side quest Revenge of the Geeks since I knew there was a trophy for this. What we had to do was just bring a milkshake back to one of the lifeguards, but instead of just bringing a normal milkshake back, we put some Ultralax in there to mess with him. After giving him the milkshake, he turned all green and it looked like he needed to take a Shortly after that, we moved on to complete the quest and got our next trophy. Shake things up. Complete Revenge of the Geeks. I continued the Slumber Party quest after this, and we were spying on Billy to see what he was doing with the missing lifeguard. Eleven and Max were still concerned, so they decided to go to Heather's house in person, the lifeguard, and see if she was alright, and her father said that she was fine. But right as Eleven and Max leave, Heather knocks out her parents with a bottle. And after we complete that quest, that ends chapter 3 and starts chapter 4, the sauna test. This chapter starts off with the quest Helter Swelter, where we have to craft a decoy dummy to lure Billy into the sauna. So after luring Billy into the sauna, this starts one of the hardest boss fights in the game. Just take a look at how bad this had me raging. No way, bro. I can't, dude. And there's no checkpoint, so I have to do all of that again, dude. This takes way too damn long. I don't even know who would be a good character to use, bro. Bro, those white rats I'm not going to be able to pass, bro. There's no way I'm being able to do this. After a few failed attempts, I decided to look up a guide, and everybody was saying that Will is a good character for this fight, so I decided to go and unlock him next. To unlock Will, you have to do his specific quest called Will the Wise. At the start of this quest, we gotta find Mike, Dustin, and Lucas's D&D books. After this, we return to Will, and Will tries to have us play D&D with him, but everybody says they don't have time for this, so he winds up storming off to the woods crying. Mike and Lucas find Will in the woods near Castle Byers, but it's all destroyed, and Will says that the Mind Flayer is back. After we're done talking to Will, we get another trophy. Will the Wise. Unlock Will. Let's go, man. Now that we got Will, I decided I'd try to do the Billy boss fight again. And let's just say, Will was no help. This boss fight was still very difficult. I can't move because of these barrels and boxes, bro. And after raging a few more times, I decided to just go and make some trinkets to make me a little bit stronger and try to make this boss fight just a little bit easier. But in order to craft some of these trinkets, I would need some special parts that you need to get in side quests, so I decided to complete the quest on the wire. This quest was very easy. All I had to do was clear out some enemies and get to the back of the building to reach this radio, and I'll get another trophy. Shack Sack. Complete on the wire. Right after completing that quest, I wound up getting another trophy. Take a look at me now. Acquire 5 trinkets. Then I moved on to just do another side quest called Rats in the Wall, and for this quest, all I had to do was explore this guy's hardware shop. After completing this quest, I got a trophy. Rats. Complete Rats in the Wall. So after all this prep work, I assumed I'd be ready for this boss fight, but yet again I was sitting here for 3 hours and could not complete it, so I just decided to go on an easier difficulty and just play the story again to where I was. Now I know some of you guys are like, oh nah, this dude's weird, he's not doing it on the hard difficulty, he's not a real trophy hunter, but you know, this was giving me a headache. I couldn't do it on the hard difficulty. It was insane. So I decided to go the easier mode. So just, you know, relax on me, man. So I replayed the entire game again, and I made it back to the spot where we left off on, and I'm on an easier difficulty this time. And what do you know? On my first attempt, I beat this boss fight. And on my first try, we finished it. I know it's disappointing I couldn't finish the game on the master difficulty, but I was getting a headache from that. I was on here for like 3 hours, I think, trying this, so I had to change it or I wouldn't have got the platinum. And with that boss fight complete, that will end chapter 4 and start chapter 5, the Flayed. This chapter starts off with us having to speak to Steve and crack one of the Russian phrases that were in the interception we had. The phrase wound up being, if you tread lightly, and after speaking to Robin, we just wound up finishing the quest and moved on. Shortly after that, we go to the hospital for the quest Hospital Brawl, and we're here to meet Miss Driscoll. After reaching Miss Driscoll's room in the hospital, we find that she isn't there, so we now have to search for her. While searching for her, we come across our next fight, and it's against these 2 news reporters that Nancy and Jonathan used to work with. After we defeat them, they then form into each other and turn into this huge monster. After we escape from the monster, we wind up getting our next trophy. Pure nightmare fuel. Complete Hospital Brawl. I wouldn't imagine doing that on master difficulty. That would have been insane. It was pretty difficult on an easier difficulty. And that'll complete chapter 5 and start chapter 6, E pluribus unum. This chapter starts off with Lucas's sister Erica asking for us to run a bunch of errands for her so she can then help us sneak into the Russian base. After getting everything Erica needed, we wind up getting another trophy. I scream for ice cream. Unlock Erica. Once we get into the secret base, Robin and Steve get kidnapped by some Russians. So what we have to do next is find our way through this Russian base and save them. After we find Steve and Robin, we then get another trophy. The cool guy. Unlock Steve. That might hands down be the best trophy in this game. And after escaping the secret Russian base, we complete the quest Scoop's Troop. Right after that, we go meet up with Murray so he can translate Russian for us. And after speaking with him, we get another trophy. Fat Rambo. Complete Invasion of Privacy. and that will complete chapter 6 and take us into chapter 7, the bite. This chapter starts off with us searching for Billy in the void. After finding Billy and Heather, they then see where our location is and send the mind flare to us. And this will kickstart our next boss fight, and of course this boss fight is with none other than the mind flare. This boss fight was not hard at all, but I'm sure that's because I'm on an easier difficulty. If I was on master difficulty, I know for a fact this would take me a lot longer. After defeating the mind flare, we then get another trophy. The bite. Complete cabin ambush. Oh yeah. After defeating the mind flare, we then go to the fairgrounds to confront Mayor Klein, but we need 10 tickets for admission fee. So I just played this shooting gallery minigame at the fair and got enough tickets I needed to move on. Before I continued into the funhouse, I just completed this 30 minutes or less quest just to get this trophy out of the way since I already had all the required items, and this got me another trophy. A fishy request. Complete 30 minutes or less. Right after that side quest, I moved right back to the funhouse, and for this, all I had to do was pursue Mayor Klein. We ended up chasing him out of the funhouse and confronted him. Right after that, we get a cutscene at the mall showing everybody and showing that Elle has a little rat specimen in her leg that they had to cut out. And that ends chapter 7, starting the final chapter, the Battle of Starcourt. This chapter starts off with us having to return to Cerebro to finally talk to Dustin's girlfriend so she can give us the secret code in the Russian base. After making it to Cerebro, we wind up having a boss fight with every type of enemy in the game. Right after finishing the boss fight, Dustin's girlfriend Susie gives us the secret code that we needed. We are then told to make our way back to the Starcourt Mall. After making it to Starcourt, the mind flare makes a sweet entrance by dropping in from the roof. After I made my way through the mall, I wound up getting another trophy. Oh, welcome to hell. Complete mall showdown. That was quick. We then find our way to the second mind flare boss fight where we have to shoot a bunch of fireworks at him. During this boss fight, we started to run low on fireworks, so we wound up having to aim every single firework cannon at him at once and fire at the same time. After defeating the mind flare, Billy comes out of nowhere and sacrifices himself to save Eleven. Right after that, we're taken to Joyce and Hopper, and they're trying to shut down the Russian machine that's opening up the new portal to the Upside Down. And right when they're about to shut the machine down, one of the secret Russians comes out of nowhere for the final boss fight of this game. After finishing the boss fight, Hopper gets stuck in the room and gets hit by the machine while Joyce shuts them down. Shortly after this, we're given our next trophy. Moving day. Complete the game. Oh yeah, man. 2 months after this happened, Joyce decided she wanted to move herself and her kids out of Hawkins. So everybody says their goodbyes, and that completes the game. And with the game being complete, that takes us on to step 2, get all miscellaneous trophies that I didn't get during the first playthrough. And there was only one that I missed. Short circuit. Successfully hacked the hardest level chest or door. Ooh. I do that. And with the game complete and all miscellaneous trophies out of the way, that takes us on to step 3. Step 3 was for me to just complete every side quest in the game that will give me a trophy, so that's what I did next. The first quest was called Store Raid, and for this, all I had to do was collect this guy's 5 personal items and return it to him. What's in store? Complete Store Raid. Right after that, I started the quest Chores for Granny Perkins, and this quest started off with me having to do a few things around her house. After completing a few chores around her house, we find out that she's actually being controlled by the mind flare, so we wind up defeating her and getting our next trophy. Homebodies. Complete Chores for Granny Perkins. The next quest I decided to do was called Ivan the Smuggler, and for this quest, we just had to collect this guy's 3 personal items. After bringing these items back to him, we get another trophy. An honest living. Complete Ivan the Smuggler. And now we move on to the final side quest I had left, and this one is called Wallflower, and all I had to do was follow this girl's puzzles around a store to find the spare key to let her out the bathroom. After getting the key and letting her out the bathroom, we get our next trophy. Little Shop of Flowers. Complete Wallflowers, and that's the last of my side quests. And with that done, this will take us into step 4, and for step 4 we have to find all 50 gnomes, which are just little collectibles around Hawkins. Now I'm only going to show a very few amount of these gnomes because if I showed all 50 that would take entirely too long, but we get a trophy for collecting 25 and a trophy for collecting 50. And there we go, Gnome Mercy. Found 25 hidden hidden gnomes halfway there. And there we go, home and gnome. Found all 50 hidden gnomes. And now that we have all the collectibles and we finished every single quest, we move on to the final step, and that is to complete New Game Plus. Now the only differences between the main game and New Game Plus is that in New Game Plus you get to use all the characters from start to finish, but if any of them die, you can't use them for the rest of the story. So with me knowing this, I just played on the easiest difficulty that you can on New Game Plus, and I was very cautious through the whole playthrough, and I only wound up losing 3 characters. The characters that I lost were Mike, 11, and Erica. But even with losing those characters, I made it to the end and completed New Game Plus, and this is where I got my Platinum trophy. There's my trophy survivor, and let's see that platinum. There we go, man. Beat it. That's the platinum on Stranger Things, bro. Let's go. Now, if you guys did enjoy today's video, please make sure to drop a like and subscribe with post notifications on so you never miss out on any more of these amazing platinum trophy videos. And if you have any games that you would like to see me platinum in the future, make sure to comment them down below. The difficulty does not matter. I'll go for anything hard, easy, it does not matter. But with all that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one.